Welcome to the Justin Ng Show, where real entrepreneurs and investors reveal how they turn humble beginnings into high-impact ventures. From bold moves to capital raises, we unpack what it really takes to build and scale greatness. Let's go check it out. Can voice AI plus better follow-up actually double a business pipeline? Today, we break down the simple system that turns leads into paying clients. You'll hear how Zeb recommends voice AI to qualify leads and turn them into customers. Welcome back to the Justin Ng Show, now sponsored by Ample Points and recorded live from your brand new studio here in sunny Las Vegas. I'm joined by Zeb Dawson, founder and CEO of Happy Path Marketing. He builds practical, repeatable growth systems powered by real relationships using AI and voice AI. Let's jump in. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Zeb, for joining me here today at the Ample Points studio here in sunny Las Vegas. So it's a brand new studio for me. So thank you so much, for your time today.
Yeah.
And tell us your journey so far for your entrepreneurship journey from your beginning all the way now to Happy Path.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Justin, for having me, and,
you're welcome.
and thanks to Ample Points here for having us here at this studio. I just got a tour of the place. It's a really nice facility here, so excited to be here. So my entrepreneurship journey is probably like a lot of folks. It's very unique in the sense that it started off very early for me. I was when I was early kid, like I guess I just had it in me. It was just part of my DNA was to, I always wanted to be a business owner. I always had a business desk as a kid. I always was interested in business. And I actually started my first business when I was, I don't even remember, I was pretty young, but I had a rock tumbler, and I used to make jewelry out of that. And so it was called Dawson's Jewelers.
Okay.
And it was like, I remember I had like a little donation can. I wasn't even charging really. And I had sold some stuff to family and things like that. But, I remember like learning as a very young kid that, it seemed to me business was where I always wanted to be.
Okay.
And both my parents had been in the business of their own. They had different businesses throughout time. They also worked, traditional jobs as well. So then as life went on, kind of come high school time, I really started to see, okay, I really want to start a business after high school. That's what I want to do, is be in business for myself. So I started an LLC with two of my best friends through high school. And both of those guys have both went on and they own their own businesses. But we started an LLC, and it was a computer repair business is what it started out as. So we were a service business.
Okay.
This was, remember, like kind of early 2000s. So we were going to homes, and it grew into businesses, and we were doing repair shop kind of work. And so that was my first taste of actual running an LLC and running a real business and kind of going through that officially. So that went on. We all kind of went our own way with college and different things like that. Those guys went off to college, got their degrees. I went a little bit of the non-traditional route. And, I went to school for a little while, but I decided, it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't, I was really hungry to get out into the real world, so to speak, and to learn how do businesses work. And I always had jobs. My very first job was at like a JCPenney selling family shoes. I was always in sales right in the beginning. And I liked sales because I knew there was never a cap. At how much I could earn. And so I moved away, kind of did my own thing, and I worked and did a lot of sales. I did outdoor door-to-door sales, and I learned kind of the whole sales process. And so throughout that time, it was really you get a lot of rejection. You kind of like it was a very humbling process of learning that.
Okay.
And then what I did is I went into that was kind of like doing that. I kind of found my way. It was like I said, I wasn't really going to the school or anything, but then I was working a couple of different jobs, traveling around, and then really ended up back into kind of more the corporate IT world. And so I started doing that for a while. And fast forward to my kind of tech days, I ended up with a job at Tesla, and that was my kind of entrance into the I would say electric vehicles, and then later on autonomous vehicle, where I spent a lot of my career.
Yeah.
And
That's where we met.
and that's where we met.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting journey. It was one of those things I kind of tell people. I said like, a lot of the companies I worked for didn't exist when I was in high school.
Exactly,
they were all kind of startup, and I was always drawn to that, a startup company that had a lot of challenges, and that was, when I even worked at Tesla, it was early days. When we first met, it was still pretty early days. We were building up businesses, and so that's where I really thrive. I really enjoy is in there. So
that challenge and everything. Yeah. So and then how that led you to Happy Path right now? Like
so I think for me, I had I don't know if I want to say enough of the corporate, but I had a lot of corporate time, and I was ready to get back into doing my own thing. And so before some of the major changes at my last place of employment, I was already looking at, okay, what do I want to do? If I did my own business again, what would I do? Now, this is 20 years forward from where I started my first business. And AI obviously is now a kind of the up and coming.
It's like a household name now.
Household name, buzzword. It's like everybody's using it. It's everywhere now. And so I knew I wanted to do something with AI. I knew I wanted to also be able to have freedom. And that was, when I look back at my entrepreneurship journey, and a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, why do we get into this? It's freedom. It's not, a lot of people may think, well, you're getting into this to make money. It's not money. It's really the freedom. That's what everybody's kind of looking to do. Right. We've all worked great jobs and been able to make great money in corporate America, but you're still locked and you're building somebody else's business.
Right.
And for me, it's really about building my own. And it's not, when you think about like generational wealth and things like that, it's not really just getting, one individual. It's building a system that you can continue to carry on, that's building a legacy of your business so that when you're gone, your family continue to carry that legacy on.
Right.
So I thought, when I had my first business, it was a service-based business. It was very much I had to go and do the work in order to get paid. It wasn't really, a system, so to speak. So I knew this next business I wanted to do was to think about it in a systematic way. And how do I build a system that is able to continue to grow and build teams? And that was one of the things I'd learned the most through corporate. And, I kind of joke, I said, some people go to school to get their MBA. I got my MBA through experience and working in the corporate world and building teams and learning how to develop leaders and investing in people. So then with Happy Path, I thought, okay, what is something that can apply? I'm very passionate about helping other business owners grow and help the businesses grow. And I love networking and building relationships, but I also didn't want to be constrained to a brick and mortar and to a zip code. So it actually officially kind of launched about a year and a half ago with a digital marketing agency. And I was always been intrigued with marketing. My background is sales, and it's kind of a broad term, and digital marketing. But then what we've really kind of narrowed down into now is the voice AI. So voice AI has become this new tool really for business owners. It's really allowed them to leverage their time, their teams, and also it helps, especially in the service-based business, which is where I have experience from the past, and also formerly was a vice president of service for a nationwide company in North America. And I, what I learned is that it's when a phone call rings, and when a phone rings, you have to answer it.
Yeah.
People want to have a response. And if you're, as a small business owner, I remember this, but if you're not there, it doesn't matter if you're on vacation or whatever, you're always answering the phone, right? So with voice AI solutions now, that helps leverage some of that to where the voice AI can take on some of that. It can actually set appointments, it can respond, it can answer FAQs, give that business owner a little bit more bandwidth without having to hire additional people or outsource or have their phone ring to a call center or something like that.
Okay.
So we've really started focusing on that product now.
Okay.
We still do the digital marketing, but our core product is now voice AI solutions for small business owners.
Nice. Okay. So how did you decide? Is it because you had a background in service businesses that you decided to build Happy Path, and then you just targeted like service businesses for them to be able to use your platform?
Yeah, that's part of it, was my experience. And also part of it is I'm always intrigued by emerging technology.
Okay.
And looking back, I realized that, I was always in emerging technology. When I started my, I started a service business and computer service because I was interested in the technology and all of the
Okay.
changing. I went into Tesla, it was emerging technology. I went
Yeah.
into autonomous vehicles, it
Right.
was emerging technology.
Right.
So it was a natural fit for me. I like that challenge. And there's more risk involved because it's emerging and it's new. And there's a saying that I stole from somebody else, but it's like, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space.
Correct,
And it's
yeah.
really your risk tolerance. And I think, when I look back at my success, I had a lot of failures. And you have to be willing to take those risks, have those failures, and grow from them.
Mhm.
And for me, it's like, I always tell, it's like you got to get in there and you have to create action. And that's how so I don't always necessarily know. I don't wait and figure out exactly everything out ahead of time.
Right.
Sometimes you just go in and you start
Okay.
doing it. And,
Yeah.
and it's the analogy they use. That you're flying the airplane. You build the airplane as you fly it.
Yeah.
And I tell people it's like going to the gym. It's like we all you can stand outside the gym. You can talk to everybody coming out of the gym. You can watch what's going on in the gym.
Yeah.
But if you don't get into the gym and actually start
Right.
doing it,
Mhm.
you're not going to grow, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's that discomfort, really. And so what I've kind of learned to embrace is that discomfort. And I go all the way back to when I started knocking on doors and doing door-to-door sales and in-home sales. It was very uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I grew a lot. And I think now, it's funny when you look back at your life and you figure out, how did I get here? And it's an accumulation of a lot of small things that have added up to your journey,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And so when I looked at digital marketing, I'm not a marketer. I didn't have experience necessarily in marketing per se, but I knew businesses and I knew consumers and I knew how to build relationships. And really what marketing is it's building a trust bridge between a consumer or a prospect and your business and your product.
Okay.
And so I knew I could do that, and I thought that would be a fun challenge, and it's rewarding for me to see business owners grow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so many business owners are really good at their craft, but they're not always the best at articulating their message to the consumer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I hear you.
So we leverage technology to help them do that in an affordable way. And I think, we've got a variety of businesses now, and whether it's e-commerce clients or we have service-based businesses.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's across the board.
Okay. Okay. So it's not only services, you have e-commerce and everything else.
Exactly.
Also. And you say challenges, basically from what you say. What was like the first major challenge and hurdle that you had to overcome? Starting Happy Path.
Yeah, I would say the challenge right now is staying ahead of everything with AI. The technology is changing so quickly
For sure.
that it's a challenge to keep up with everything. And a lot of times, people will come and ask, well, have you used this or have you doing that? And so it's easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
So I think the challenge is right now for us is to stay focused on the right area there's a lot of noise and a lot of distractions in AI right now. So staying focused on our core product, which is the voice AI solution, so that we can deliver to our customers. And then we're still paying attention to what's going on and waiting till the right time to implement it. We didn't implement voice AI right away. We just actually implemented it a couple of months ago because we were waiting for it to be a little bit more mature.
Gotcha.
And that's always a risk when you're in emerging technology is, especially when you're deploying this to a customer's business to something, though. I would say that was one challenge. The other challenge too is, it was, I was used to working in a very traditional in-person environment and now managing everything remotely. Of course, we had some experience doing that through the pandemic and things like that. But, now I'm working with teams in the Philippines. I'm working with teams that are across the country. So everybody is fully remote. And so getting that team kind of collaboration and culture is kind of a new challenge for me because we had so much of my career was in person. And I personally prefer in person, but it's just not feasible, with today's world. But so I think, just keeping that communication going is really critical. And that's always been one of my, I guess one of my keystones in how everything I do is trying to make sure we're communicating clearly, articulating whether it's to the client, whether it's to our partners, whether it's to our vendors.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the challenges and hurdles that you have to overcome then. And I'm pretty sure right now with your voice AI, you mentioned since you really started a few months ago, you probably have challenges right now that you have to overcome.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's really important, and it goes back to the communication, is getting that feedback from the clients. It's listening to the customer. What is their feedback? What do they like? What don't they like? What do they want more of? What do they want to change? Because that's how we can improve our product. And especially when it comes to something like brand new, like voice AI. And so we're doing a lot. We have demo numbers out there for anybody to call and leave feedback and try. So one of my biggest things I try to do is get everybody to, interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get feedback. It's like anything else. When you build it yourself, you're building it from kind of your perspective, but there's a lot of scenarios that you don't necessarily think about
Gotcha.
for
Okay.
different businesses.
Like the edge cases and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fair. And for Happy Path and the Voice AI, like, what was your marketing strategy? Since it's a marketing company,
Yep.
like, how do you get your first prominent customer to?
Yeah. So there's, this isn't anything new, but people say this all the time. It's so true. Your network is your net worth.
Okay.
And it's for me, it's network. I mean, we've been in networking events together.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
I've been very fortunate to build a strong network of relationships over the years, through either in-person events or virtual or through corporate or business or whatever. I'm always meeting and networking. And so when you build a network, you also, networking isn't just creating a connection. It's actually it's a two-way street. It's creating value and it's giving and receiving back and forth. And so what I try to do is I really try to work with my network to create value, to offer them value. And then when the time comes like this, reaching out to them and asking them to, hey, here's something, would this be a good fit for your business? And talking to them,
Okay.
and creating that value proposition. So our first couple of clients came from some good friends and close colleagues of mine.
Okay.
And so we started building it with that. And then, we've also been fortunate. We had some nice referrals that have come through.
Nice. Okay.
And I joke, I said, we don't do a ton of marketing ourselves because we've been fortunate through our networks. Now we are also growing. We're trying to stay steady, but we're not trying to get too overwhelming with growth. We want to kind of grow at a steady pace, so that way we can, make sure that we're delivering that high quality, high touch experience for our client.
Okay.
We consider ourselves a boutique marketing agency. We're very hands-on.
Okay.
And so we scale as we get more clients. So I think, for us, we're fortunate. We have a good network. That's where we've gotten a lot of our clients early on. Now we are doing outreach. We are doing marketing. Where we are getting some new cold leads coming in and converting those to sales as well.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, and it's great because now we've got that baseline. We've had that proof of concept is there, right?
Yeah.
Your MVP, if you will, your minimal viable product has been proven. It's working, and you're getting good feedback from that. So then you allow your existing customers to start, really big on reputation management and leaving reviews and having them share on their social media and do a lot of organic growth.
Right.
And I've posted things on social media and people I haven't spoken to in years from high school that are owning businesses now have reached out. And,
nice.
So it's important to, you don't always think about, there's a lot of people in your network that you probably haven't even thought about for a while.
Correct.
But, post what you're doing, be out there. Don't keep it a secret. Post on, LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all your platforms, so that you never know what follower sees something or a follower that knows somebody that is going to introduce you to a potential client.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that so much. Like, people use social media as their business card right now to know, and that's how people kind of like, get customers, and like you say as well, from your experience and doing the cold outreach as well, and getting. So that's pretty cool that right now you're posting everything and you're getting feedback from it. And I'm pretty sure that was also another challenge that you had to go through multiple tries, multiple takes to be able to get the right copy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, with our business, it's always evolving. It's always growing. It's changing. If you look back at our business, it's different than it was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 18 months ago. It's changing because the world we're in is changing all the time. And one of the factors that I really believe in order to stay successful is having that ability to continually adapt to the change and adapt to your customer feedback, and understanding that there's different generations that are interacting differently, and you have to understand not only your client, you have to understand your client's audience.
Okay.
Especially when you're doing marketing for them and helping connect with their audience. And so that's some of the first questions we always ask when we meet with a client is, who is their ICP, their ideal client profile or ideal customer profile? What is their, and some of our clients are marketing to other businesses that are B2B, other ones are B2C. And so, figuring that out. And then, introducing new technology to the business owner. For us, we find it, a lot of business owners, it's easy, they get a little stagnant sometimes. They've been doing one thing and they continue to do that.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I said, it's like, if you were a traditional business from back in the 90s and you're still running ads in the yellow pages, it's probably not going to be very effective, right?
Okay.
And so just because you were running, maybe ads or you were doing marketing one way for the last several years, doesn't mean that the effectiveness is going to maintain. You're going to have to change that, especially now with AI coming into the picture.
Yeah.
And so we look at their existing marketing strategy. We looked at what's worked before, what's currently working, what's not working. And then it's all data driven. Everything we were saying at our company that is, we turn dollars into data.
Okay.
The dollars you're spending with us, we want to turn into data that we can show you measurable impacts. So what the impact is on the money you're spending. A lot of times when you go and you might be doing marketing or something, it's hard to get the data on exactly, is this being effective or not. You're maybe asking your clients, where did you hear about us, or how did you find out about us, and things like that.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure now that we're the ability to track kind of all the traffic and things like that. What is effective, and where they can spend more of their ad dollars, especially when it comes to digital ads and things like that.
Okay.
But it's also great with the voice AI product to see, like, okay, hey, I've one missed call for a client could be a couple $1,000,
exactly,
depending on the client, right? So it can very quickly pay for itself.
Okay. And for the voice AI, like, how did you transition to get your existing customers to be able to adopt that? Do some of them don't even want it, or how did that work?
I think there's a lot of hesitation in the beginning until they really interact with it. A lot of folks that I've chatted with, they thought, is it going to be robotic? Is it going to be natural?
Right.
I don't want to. We're a very personalized business. They're used to, having this kind of very close relationship with the client, right? So you don't want to break trust by putting in an AI client. So once they start to listen to it and they hear the natural tone in the voice, they understand that, like, hey, this is actually, it sounds really good. It's not just a robot. It's not generic, kind of like how the past technology was. They're more open to it. And we don't use it always in every aspect of the business. We might use it for after-hours service. And I tell people, we're not trying to replace your employees. We're trying to create collaboration, so that when a client is focused on, maybe they're working with somebody in person, the phone's ringing, they can have an AI assistant that can help handle that call, knowing that the human is going to get back to them.
Yeah.
And I think with, it depends on your business, but how you intersect that technology with the humans in the business is really important. And we have a couple of clients that are using it for, strictly like AI appointment setting. So they're using it for people that go on, they haven't had a relationship with the business yet. They're running ads or whatever, or they're filling out a form and to meet with them. And so the AI is just helping them qualify their prospect.
Okay.
That way the business is only spending time with qualified prospects and not wasting time on tire kickers and things like that.
Right. Okay.
And then it sets the appointment. So it's a high intent lead. And so the conversion rate is much higher for our customer, and their cost, without having to go through all of the unqualified work, is really good for the return on the investment for the client.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's a couple of different use cases for it.
Okay. And you also explain the use cases to them, or they also have their own custom use case in order for you guys to tailor it for what they want and everything.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So we build up the custom knowledge base, and you can have multiple AI agents.
Custom knowledge base. Okay.
Yeah. So it depends on, you may have one that's an AI appointment setter. Well, you may, once they're already an existing client, you may have another AI that's really trained on the FAQs, or it's trained on another aspect of your business. We can also put it in as like a virtual assistant.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So there's you can design the AI to fulfill different roles. And the nice thing too is the AI can also transfer to a live human. So if you have somebody that says, I'd like to speak to Justin, it'll transfer and actually does an introduction. It doesn't just transfer, it'll just say, Justin, I have Zeb on the line. He's interested in XYZ, and it'll transfer it over.
Gotcha.
So it's a very seamless transition. So we use that for some of our clients that are interested in getting leads, and once they're qualified, they want to be able to talk to that prospect while they're still interested. They'll be able to close that deal.
Okay.
So we're using it for that use case with some of our clients.
And are you always the person they talk to in order for you to? Are you customer facing as well, or do you have a team that does all the?
Right now, I am customer facing for the most part, and my business partner Murph Berry, he is really working on the backside of the data and getting the knowledge bases built and the automations put into place and getting all of the the systems working, the technology working. And and the most of my time is spent with customer facing, networking, building relationships right now. We do have some virtual assistants, and we have a team, 24/7 tech support team over in the Philippines, and some folks like that will interact with the customers occasionally. But for the most part, right now, I'm the primary face of the company.
No, so at least they get to talk to the owner, and the owner will be able to explain everything, and this is how we're going to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good though. At least I know some companies, they still have to go through so many steps just to get everything, but at least you guys are still able to provide that service to them to build a rapport with them, right? That's
exactly
the thing too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not talking to somebody else. You're talking to, yeah.
Yeah, I think, so much now, there's a lot of cases where I've done business with other folks, and once you make that transaction, you don't hear from the business again. You're kind of doing you're on your own, or if you need support, you've got to email, or you've got to chat with somebody. And we're trying to really kind of break that norm of, we want to be very interactive with our clients, even though it is more time consuming. We want to understand, we want to make sure they're being successful, which has contributed to our high retention rate as well. So we're really trying to, I'll go out to customer sites, I'll visit with them. We try to,
sites too.
Yeah, we try to really understand that customer and build that personal kind of relationship with them.
That's amazing.
We really want to be a partner, not just a vendor that they're using for one of their products.
Gotcha. Okay. And so if they're local, you can do customer facing. If they're
Yeah, I mean, I travel. We've got clients across the country that I've traveled to on site.
That's amazing.
Especially, we try to get out there a couple times a year just to see what's going on. Some of our customers we're a little bit more hands-on with, depending on what package they have with us.
Yeah.
But if they're, we have other customers that are just kind of strictly using our software, and they don't need as much attention. But some of our customers are a little bit more hands-on. So it kind of depends. We've got a couple of packages, but then there's also some custom options on some of the basic needs.
Okay. So is that basically, how you guys set yourself apart from other similar marketing agents, where you guys are more customer facing? You're actually more like something that you can build a rapport with them. Is that a way you guys set yourself apart, or is there other things that make you guys different?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one of the things when I started my very first business, I've always been in a customer facing. I've always been in a sales kind of interacting with folks. And the irony is, now we're in an AI business, and we're creating virtual agents.
Yeah.
But we don't want that to, take away from the human touch that we're providing in the relationships.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we work really hard. Myself and my business partner Merv, he also meets with clients on some clients on a weekly basis. We have open office hours. We try to be very accessible. And as we continue to build the business, that's one of the things that, is, we go back to the challenges, is continue to have that human touch. And, it's not always going to be myself, but we're going to have team members, we're going to have account managers to do that. And so that's one of our plans as we scale, is to bring in account managers that are trustworthy, that'll build that relationship still, that'll be able to go out to customer sites. So you're going to be able to still have that. So it's very unique in this kind of industry to have that human connection. And so many things now are focused on, you can buy it, and support is maybe outsourced or something like that.
Yeah.
And we really we offer obviously some of our support is outsourced for 24/7 often, but we want to be able to have that human connection where we can actually, if you really get a hold of somebody here, you can talk to them, you can see them
exactly
in person. So I think that's one of the things that we're trying to really separate ourselves from, is to, we don't want to hide behind the screen, so to speak. We want to be out there and be with the customers.
That's cool. That's amazing. And so I guess a little bit of segue right now, so based on the things you have gone through, the whole experience you have, also working, at where we were.
Yep.
What kind of like a leadership skills that you develop over time, and being the leader you are at Happy Path right now. So like how did you develop that and build that and use that and make yourself stand out as a leader?
Yeah, no, great question. One of the things is you're always getting feedback. I think that helped me grow the most, is hearing from my team, asking, doing that 360 feedback. The other thing too is, when you're, building a team, you got to understand, like, put yourself in that employee's shoes, or that either it's a partner's shoes or a contractor, whoever you're working with, and think about their perspective. And what are they getting out of it? And really, what drives them, understanding what is their strength and what it enjoys them. my business partner Merv, he's really good at at building out the automations and building out the knowledge bases, and he likes doing that, and I know that. Ask him to build a presentation, he does not enjoy doing that, and he's not going to. He'll do it and he'll do a good job, but he's not going to enjoy that. So understanding your partner or your your employees or whoever it is, their strengths and their weaknesses, and play to those and what they really enjoy. I find that was one of my successes with my past careers. And then also, when you're looking at them, everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to have opportunities to contribute, to grow, and get recognition. And so for me, it's really important to understand, okay, what does that look like? Where do you want that? How do you want to, what do you want your career to look like? What is your growth that you want to do? Are you using this as a stepping stone to your next, project or career or whatever?
Yeah.
So when I'm working with folks, right now, especially with this early stages, we're in an area where we're really capitalizing on those skills. So we have very specialized folks that work, somebody that does just our digital ads because that's their specialty. Somebody that's really focusing on, for us, that is, important to do like cold email because that's a whole nother beast in itself is doing cold email. So we have somebody that does just cold email for us, right? And that they love that. They love problem solving that. They love doing all of that. They're really good at it, right?
Okay.
So I think, finding those skills and not just having somebody do too much. And the other thing that's easy to do in a small business, you're the business owner, you're willing to work a lot more. And you got to understand that, it's easy for other employees to get burned out. And, going back to my days at Tesla and some other places, like, that was probably one of the first places I really felt true burnout. Everybody was very excited and it was very big. We were very passionate about the project. But back then, like, you would just go and go and go until you completely burned out. And it's easy to do because you get excited about a project, you're excited about the new business or whatever. So having that time off, so making sure, so I try to make sure that, we all get time off. I'm really big on making sure that, you have some downtime, decompress. And in order to do that, you have to have a system in place that allows the business to continue to function.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, that's what we're kind of working through now. And where we're starting to rely on more of the virtual assistants and some things.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Especially when it comes to the more of the mundane processes of, updating social media, posting things and all of that.
Exactly, yeah.
Relying on to alleviate some of that burnout risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's one of the things too. One of the other guests I had before, he told me is like every morning he writes a list of stuff that he needs to do or some like things that he needs to do, and then you go through that and check off like stuff. Okay, who can I outsource this to? And then I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
And that's how he got his time back to be able to focus on the important things, like the critical tasks for him, like that will help him to move the needle for himself.
Exactly.
So I heard that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool to be able to implement that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have three things I usually do with my team. And it's called do it, delegate it, or dump it.
Okay.
And it's it's do it. It's the get it done and over with early in the morning so you can get your tasks done. If it's something that you can delegate to like a VA or something, delegate it. And if it there's a lot of tasks that get put on there that really is like, if I don't do this, what's going to happen? And it's like, well, it's probably not going to have a big impact. Just dump it. Just get it off your plate so you can focus on something more. And what I like to tell my team is, how is it tied to revenue? Everything, what you're doing, how is it tying to our revenue? How is it tied to our bottom line? Is this creating additional cost for us, or is it actually bringing in revenue for us?
Mm-hmm.
So, when I'm looking at things, in the very beginning of my day, I'm more of a morning person. So I enjoy, that's where I'm doing my responding back to my follow-ups, or I'm doing my sales outreach, or I'm working in the pipeline or whatever. And to me, that's the most important thing. That's what's bringing revenue into the business.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of other tasks that need to be done, but first off is you got to keep that revenue coming in. And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to start working on other projects that are not necessarily revenue driven or directly tied to that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing too is just think about, why am I doing this? What is it's the whole analogy of start with why, and what is the end result? Why are we doing this especially when it comes to a larger project and it's a lot of team resources. That's one of the things that I've really tried to be cognizant of is like, okay, if a client asks for it, okay, what's the result? Why is it? Is it just for this one client? Is it something we can leverage and use across multiple clients?
Yeah.
What are the resources it's going to take? What's the cost?
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that it's actually worth everybody's time and money at the end.
Exactly. Okay. And speaking of like revenue, right? So like in terms of like investment, like from the revenue and everything you come from the business, do you reinvest it back into like the company, or do you use it to,
Yes.
or do any other wealth building or wealth generating and keeping outside of the business itself for yourself personally?
Yeah, personally, right now for myself, I don't take any money. I don't take a salary. I don't take any pay from the business.
Okay.
It's all being reinvested into the business, paying our contractors, or paying our vendors, and also just growing our business. So we're trying to
Okay.
reinvest that for the
Right.
business side of it. I, that's the goal, of course, is to have this as a mechanism to bring in cash, and to for me to personally be able to take this and now doing other investments. One of my goals in life is to, obviously get into real estate investment and get into some other some areas where we can have some ongoing. There's the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant, which
Yeah.
I've always liked,
Uh-huh.
and it's that limitation wall of between trading time for money and
Yeah.
and having that money work for you, right? And
Yeah.
so, I'm kind of in between right now, but I'm really truly more of a self-employed, where if I don't show up to work, I'm not going to make money. And the
Right.
idea is to get to that business and
Mhm.
owner side, so that I'm actually owning and building the system, which is what we're doing right now. And part of our revenue model is it's a monthly recurring revenue, so it's a subscription based model
Right. Yeah.
to continue to build. So
Mhm.
so our revenue is growing month over month, and then get down to ultimately the I quadrant, which is the investor quadrant,
Right.
and to be able
Exactly.
to invest in different things. And I'm working with several different startups now, where we're actually, so we'll do some equity trades, we'll do some marketing for companies in exchange for some equity into businesses and
Oh wow.
startups and things
Okay.
like that. So we can kind of get a little bit creative with that right now. Of course, I've got personal investments and things like that that are just kind
Mhm.
of allowed me to bootstrap this and invest. So I've invested a lot of my own personal money into this business to get it going.
I see. Yeah. For sure. I understand.
And so, and that's been important for me, because I wanted to maintain control of the business and be able to. I saw what happened with some of the corporate Bennett startups have been acquired by larger corporations,
Yeah.
and you're relying on investments, and um, those investments change, or you end up with a board and they decide how the business changes, and you start to lose control of your vision.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure I maintain control of my vision.
Copy that. Okay, so that's basically how you're doing it right now. Like whatever you had before the previous investments here, that's gonna help you to build a business and grow it.
Exactly.
Okay. And
Yeah. So I was able to work with my financial advisor, and took some of my personal investments to be able to invest in this business, and then we'll build this up and be successful. We'll probably be profitable within, I would say, 12 to 24 months from now.
oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it just depends on kind of what our growth is. Growth rate, we're kind of just now working on some of those numbers. So then I'll be able to start to recoup some of my investment from the
For
business in
sure,
that time
definitely.
frame.
Okay.
But it is. I mean, that's one of the risks. It's risky when you're starting a business. It's risky when you're using your own investment money. And it's really hard to work and do a business. So it's
Understood. Yeah, exactly.
so for me, it's been a lifestyle change for
I know.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for
When you
sure.
don't have any income and you go from my last job was a VP of a company, so it was a pretty good income, and go from that to nothing and actually spending a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
know.
you have to have that long term vision, and I think that's something that when I look at you know you don't want it's there's a lot of frustrations that come up. There's a lot of failures along the way, and if you are not just really driven to that vision, it's easy to quit. It's so tempting sometimes, to think, well, there's a job offer coming up that you could have this job, and
Mm-hmm.
you have instant money
Right.
coming back in, right? Your cash flow. But what is your why? What is the end results that you're trying to achieve? And like I said earlier, it's not the financial side of it; it's the freedom side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm trying to build is, build that freedom to allow me to do other things outside of my, just working
Right,
all the
exactly.
time.
Yeah. And I know a few people as well, they still have a W2, but they're still working on the side, just like me, right? Just doing
Hmm.
it because at least they have the security of something else, but at least, you're just still trying to work and, using as much time as you can to develop. So something I guess you're playing this long game, right? Just to eventually just
Exactly.
move on to the financial independence and freedom that, you mentioned as well.
Well, and it's always, I tell people, one of the things you need to do is you need to have multiple sources of income. You never want to rely on one source of income, because there's no job security today. So your job could disappear any moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to be building another asset in addition, and ideally multiple assets. And so I've got a few things going on. This is Happy Path is my primary one right now. But you want to be building multiple assets all the time, and whether that is investments, with stocks or whatever it is, or however that looks, working with your financial advisors. But you want to have some sort of backup plan in place, and it's important because this, especially today's age. I mean, the way the world is changing so quickly, and the economy and the jobs market is changing rapidly all the time, right?
Exactly.
So for me, if you look at how this country is structured, it's designed for business owners. It favors business owners. Right. It's really, ultimately, in my mind, that's where everybody should be working towards, is to become a business owner. Obviously, it's not everybody's going to become one, but that's how I see things. That's how I always see things, is like, it's business owners. When I look at who I surround myself with and I look at who has the lifestyle that I want and what are they doing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, 99% of the time, they're a business. They were or are a business owner.
Exactly.
And if they were a business owner, now they're an investor, and they're enjoying the fruits of their labor.
Exactly. Okay. And speaking of real estate investment, do you have anything right now, or you're in the future?
It'll all be future right now. Yeah, I don't have anything currently in my real estate portfolio just yet. But what I'm looking at is, that will be, I've worked with several folks that are now, doing well with real estate. And, real estate is one of those things I've always wanted to do. And then I kind of got stuck in a little bit of a trap waiting on the right time. And then I learned that there's no right time.
I see. Yeah, exactly. Just like business, right?
It's like business, right? And so I will, but yeah, and I moved around a lot. I mean, that was my, this is actually the longest I've ever stayed anywhere besides my hometown of growing up. Been in Vegas for almost 8 years now. Okay. That's the longest I've lived anywhere outside of when I grew up in Ohio and spent my entire time there. But that, so now I'm kind of established, and I was like, okay, and of course, 2020, hindsight's always 2020. Looking back, I'm like, I should have bought when I moved here, in 2017, and now look at it. But so I think it's prioritizing, and it's trying to stay focused right now. That's my thing. Is I'm trying to stay focused on the business. That I'm trying to really drive this all the way through to where we become profitable, and then we'll kind of go to the next thing.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what's the next steps for Happy Path? You did the voice AI. That's a new thing. What's next coming down? If you can share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, voice AI will continue to evolve. We'll continue to implement that. We'll find new ways to implement that, and also just AI in general. I think what we're looking at now is, how do we start to leverage businesses? Where else can we use AI to start to leverage these businesses? And AI is getting involved in so many areas. You have to have it to stay competitive. And for us, we're looking at each business and seeing, like, is it automating tasks? Is it setting, those appointments like we're starting to do now? Or is it, are there some other additional tasks that we haven't even thought of yet that we're going to use AI for? For me right now, we're focused. We've got actually a lot of clients in the solar business. And so we're really helping them grow their business and get, increase their sales revenue, increase their appointments on their calendar, get that business going. So we're starting to do a little bit of a niche in that industry, I would say.
Okay.
But then we're going to go to other industries, and we're going to continue to build those out. For us, it's really listening to the consumer. So exactly what the next product will be, it probably is a little bit to be determined. Okay. And it's twofold. One is that the technology is evolving, so it's going to depend on what that technology is that's really going to be there. But two is, what does the customer want, and what is the need out there in the marketplace?
Right.
That's going to evolve. And I think it's going to be, voice AI. I think we're just scratching the surface of that right now. You're going to see a lot more evolution with that. We're going to that's going to continue to evolve over the next several months, probably pretty quickly. Yeah. So we're going to stay focused on the voice AI product for now, and then, but I'm sure there'll be other products that'll be coming out.
So maybe when some of your existing customers, is like, hey, we would like to have this in the future, and then maybe you get more customers to say they're looking for this, and maybe it's like, oh, maybe we should add that to our portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's we're now at a point to where we are starting to get the customers that are asking for a few different features, and we're going to see, like, once again, it goes back to if this is something we can kind of deploy that would be make sense for several clients or a niche overall, then it may be something we invest in and we start to develop and we start to roll that out.
Amazing, yeah, for sure.
I think it's easy also to overcomplicate the business, and you don't want to overcomplicate things. So to me, having a product that's simple and easy to work and it works and you can scale is really, really valuable right now. And that's what we're trying to really kind of figure out. Okay, if we take voice AI, if we take one use case and we take it in one industry, how much can we scale that forward to build valuation on the business? And then can we just kind of replicate that into other industries? Can we then take that now and, say from solar and do into home services or doing it insurance or other industries that are looking for appointment type businesses? And then like I said, the other AI products that we can add alongside that could be complementary. We have our CRM. We have a white labeled CRM that we've customized that we'll all do along with that as well. We've got a lot of other tools that are available that folks can add. It's the Voice AI is our leading product, but we'll continue to innovate on some of these other software products and everything.
Amazing.
As well.
And so the CRM basically comes along with HappyPath, right?
Yeah, the CRM is part of our Voice AI. So our Voice AI works with that. So you get, when you use our Voice AI appointment setter product, it has the CRM as part of that. So you see that on our website, it's included. We also have just a standalone CRM if people want the CRM and they're not interested in the voice. That's kind of what our core product that we started with was our CRM.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So we started with that, and then that's customized for each business, and the voice AI kind of incorporates that. But we also integrate with everybody else's CRM, so we can.
Okay. So if they already have an existing one.
Exactly, they have an existing CRM. We can use the voice AI to connect to that, and so every use case is a little bit different. That's some people are looking for us to help generate leads, and we do that way. Other people already have leads that we dump into that system, and the voice AI is doing outbound calls for those.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so it just kind of depends.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Zeb. Let the audience know how they can reach you. The websites or whatever they can see for the HappyPath and the CRM and the voice AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so our main website is happypathmarketing.com, so you can check us out there. That'll have leads to everything else that we offer. But there's also followuppathway.com, which is our CRM, and on there you can see the voice AI. You can try some of the demos, call the numbers. We've got a couple of different things on there that you can check out. So personally, you can reach out to me on all the social medias, LinkedIn. You can just kind of search for my name, Zeb Dawson. You'll find me pretty much anywhere. Also on our websites, there's links to all my connections. You can call our main office line, and you'll get our AI receptionist, and ask any questions and get in touch with us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for your time today, Zeb. I appreciate you taking time today on a weekend to come and.
No, my pleasure. Thank you, Justin, for having us and having me on the show. And thanks again to Ample Points
for having us,
for hosting us here today. And it was great to sit down and get to chat with you.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much again.
All right. Thanks, Justin.